Welcome back, guys, to part 2 of this Mitsubishi Overhaul. So, starting right into it, this is the damaged rotor that needed to be replaced. We got all the parts, clean up the wheel hub a little bit and place it on. So you can see it before and after there. This is talking now of the cradle arm. Front goes to 123 Newton meters. The rear goes to also 123, and the ball joint, as you will see, goes to 66 Newton meters. Now, this would have been hand tightened as best as possible. The steering end goes to 25 Newton meters. Right. The reason for tightening all these components down properly is so that they don't slip out. One to the rear shocks, right? Pretty straightforward. Just remove bolts, take it out, put it in. Same thing for the stabilizer end links. All the clean parts, all the clean engine parts are to be assembled. So we wanted to have them clean, and all the torque specs on the sheet to follow. The same thing for the sampan, remove all that dirty oil, all that gunk that was stuck inside of the engine, and then follow the spec sheet to get the torque spec index to 23 plus or minus 4 Newton meters. We have the oil filter that was replaced, and then starting the engine to ensure that all the components are working well, making sure that there's no oil leaking, so that we have proper sealing of the oil system. As it would be, it was still a leak, but it wasn't clear where it was coming from, so I took it for a test drive, got the engine warm, and was attempting to read the live data from a launch scan tool, and then while driving tragedy struck, realized that the RPMs was dropping significantly. So we go up in RPM and the engine would want to almost cut off, and I didn't know why it was cutting off. And then obviously it would be hard to start, it would take long to start, and then it would still drop the RPMs. Get some other perspective on why the RPMs will be dropping. So I called up my friend from Easy AutoZone after going through a couple codes, right? Called up my friend DJ, big shout out to DJ for helping me out, and we realized that it was a combination of things. It was the throttle body that needed to relearn. Right, when you clean throttle body, and if you move the butterfly valve, you will have to relearn it because it will not be in the same position. And then we also realized the oil leak was coming from the VVT solenoid. Right, apparently the VVT solenoid plunger was bad, and it also had a worn O-ring seal. And because the O-ring seal was worn, we had to order a new VVT solenoid and then also replace it. Upon installing the VVT solenoid, it broke, so I had to extract it with an extractor tool. This is me here drilling into it and then taking the extractor tool and removing the broken bolt. Thankfully, it wasn't too difficult of a job, and thankfully, yes, after changing the solenoid, cleaning up the throttle body and making sure that it's relearned, the RPMs are holding. The front shocks that were ordered came in, take the spring off, replace it. We had to get some new hardware as well for the bump stops. This is just an example of what dead shocks would look like. Shock absorbers, they lose the fluid after a while. If they are completely worn, this is here is a change out of the shock mounts as well. Then reassembly we'll tighten down the knuckle bolts to 80 Newton meters. So the car was driving smooth until I came back in for another issue where the alternator went bad. So it wasn't recharging the battery. And removing the alternator, I realized some of the belts weren't the correct belts. The belts were stretch belts. And also the timing cover was leaking oil because it was damaged. And you would see here that timing cover had to be removed by removing the harmonic balancer. And taking a closer inspection, yes, the rubber on the timing cover was faulty or worn out. And on the new cover, you could see that there wasn't the same level of wear on the rubber. So that's why we bought the new cover, so that oil wouldn't be seeping past the seals. The timing cover just advisable to, clean up the area so that there isn't all the gunk stuck up in between the timing belt. Anything that looks off, you can take an inspection of it. Putting back on the bottom part of the cover, there's a sensor that is into the block that you have to make sure the bottom of the cover sits perfectly. Right, so just making a double check, everything is clean, all the bolts are pristine and tight. Then we run the engine to make sure that there's no oil leaks, and everything looks really, really good. Some other minor patches that we had to do, shield for the tank came off, so we did some fabrication and riveted a piece onto it, and also an airbag code came up that would have indicated that the clock spring needed to be replaced, and there's a video on my IG page that describes how to go about changing a clock spring. That's it. We come to the end of our part 2. Hope you all really enjoyed it. I hope you all liked and enjoyed. Please share. Thanks, guys.